We're 1 month into Season 14, and it's finally time to showcase the best builds in the game that have been dominating this season. We'll cover the top pit and tower clearing build for each class, along covering if the build is actually worthwhile playing if you're a dogshit newbie, which, knowing my lovely viewers, you likely are. And without further yapping, let's take a look at arguably the shittiest class in the game first, the Paladin. I'm saying arguably because in the tower, there's only a few seconds between the top clears of the second shittiest class in the game and the Paladin. Anyhow, in both SSF and RMT League, the Paladin has been capping out at around 138 in its clears, and the highest clears are coming from the Shield of Retribution Thorns setup. Shield of Retribution is simply one of the skill upgrades for Blessed Shield. It transforms Blessed Shield into a Juggernaut skill, which opens up a lot of damage synergies, along with allowing your Blessed Shield to deal Thorns damage. This, in turn, also opens up for extra synergies via Thorns, as it's simply an extra multiplier. Now, while we do have a lot of skills on our bars, this can also be played as a one-button setup, because all the other skills are really just there to buff us, and they're not massively important when farming. This is also why, while being the lowest clearing class in the game, I'd still recommend this as a build to play, because it's chill, tanky, fun, and it will clear all content in the game without an issues at all. It's one of my most played builds in this game, for a good reason. Alright, for the next dogshit class, we have the Edgy Emo. And just like last season, the best build is the Bloodwave setup, utilizing Hematolagnia to turn Bloodwave into a core skill and make it spammable, followed by utilizing Overpower stacks to bust out as much damage as possible, while Bloodwave keeps your stacks maxed out. It's largely the same build as last season, just slightly worse after getting nerfed. What's great about this build, though, is that for farming, it's fucking godly. You just slap on the new Inexorable Reaper onto your Sever, and you have a permanent teleport, which is kinda funny, because after several years of making fun of the Necro for being a sloth, with one skill upgrade, it suddenly became one of the fastest classes in the game. This is also a build that I'd recommend for the masses, because while still being the best pushing setup, it's also super fast, it's easy to get started, and you'll delete any T12 content with ease using it. And for the third shittiest class in the game, we have also the newest one, the Warlock. Here, the top build is the Mega Lunatic setup, using Command Fallen to send out lunatics that kamikaze their way to blow up the screen. The main reason that this build is fucking bonkers is due to the Cage of Madness. This one item alone has the highest multiplier in the entire game, for a whopping 400% extra damage, along with allowing yourself to transform into a lunatic for additional movement speed. It's also a basic skill, allowing you to benefit from basic skill multipliers, which are fantastic by themselves, along with using Metamorphosis, Sigil of Summons, and some extra weird bonuses. I need to be honest here though, I hate this class. I find it gimmicky, clunky, and awful. But this build is actually pretty damn fun to play. It's fairly easy to get online, just requiring a few regular uniques. It's fast, and it has good clear. So, if you're looking for a Warlock build to play, then yeah, this one will get the job done. Alright, next, we're getting into some actual proper classes. Clocking in at some impressive 148 clears, we have the Soyborn with the Counter Swarm setup. This is not only the best Soyborn pushing setup, but you can also make it super fast. It deals fuckloads of damage and decently tanky if you build it correctly. Oh, and it's fun as fuck. Really, it's the first build I'd highly recommend everyone to try out on this list. Okay, Mr. Big Penis Man, I'm sold. How does it work then? That's actually fairly interesting. Here we use counterattack to deal damage, not from the skill itself, but via the counterattack of the swarm. This transforms it into a centipede skill along with sending out pestilent swarms. And this is where our damage comes from. Because pestilent swarms can deal a shitload of damage, as we have a lot of multipliers for poisons and pestilent swarms itself. Furthermore, we're pairing it with the pestilence aspect to have our swarms spiral and Ring of Writhen Moon for them to circle around us, making it super easy to wipe out everything around us. After that, it's just about stacking more multipliers, zip around with Rushing Claw and/or Evade, and have some fun. Sure, we may be using a bug or two here to deal extra damage, but hey, who isn't? Can recommend. For the next build, we're getting into Pit and Tower 150 territory. And actually, the rank 4, 3, and 2 classes are all only seconds away from each other in terms of top clears. And first out, we have the wood-chopping fat ass. And you'll be glad to hear that the best build of the season is not just the best at pushing, but it's also insanely fun, fast, and smooth to play. Yep, it's Shred Baby, back again. I love this build, man. Shred was one of the first builds I ever covered on this channel, and after years of being absolute dogshit, it's finally the best. And the reason for that? Well, just check out these talisman bonuses. The 2 set grants you a buttload of damage, stacking up the more spirit you spend, and your 5 set allows your storm skills to double and triple cast, while also granting them a whopping 500% damage bonus. This alone makes the build fantastic, and it's all made available due to transforming Shred into a storm skill. Pair that with all the additional synergies we can use for Shred when having it as a storm skill, and items such as Waxing Gibbous that is actually good now, and you're hitting for trillions. All you really need to get it online is to grab the mandatory uniques and some spirit regen, and then you're blasting. No difficult to hit breakpoints or anything, you just play the build. Definitely a build I'd recommend everyone to play at least once before Blizz hits it with the nerf hammer, because it's been OP for far too long now, like a whopping 2 seasons, and we can't have that. We obviously need to go back to pulverizing again. Anyhow, on to the next build, and here we have the Burning Firewall Sorcerer. The basics of this build are actually fairly interesting. Here we're investing everything we can into boosting firewall damage, but we're not really casting it. Instead, we're dropping it onto the ground to spawn a ring of fire. This allows all of your other hits to trigger the firewall damage over time, meaning we want to hit enemies as often as possible to trigger the burning, which just so happens that Blizzard does. Basically, transforming the build into a Blizzard build, but with extra steps. Pretty cool, eh? All that there's left to do then is to scale our damage over time, and we have ourselves a build. Now, this is the first build on the list that I wouldn't really recommend for the average dad gamer Andes. It's quite clunky to play, relying on you standing within your firewalls and applying damage over time. But there is actually several speed farming variants that are much smoother to play and rely on similar interactions. So for the non-pushing players, I'd still recommend this build, but playing the alternate versions of it, because the pushing one kinda blows. Next on the list, we have the shit-smearing Barbarian and his charge setup. This is a completely new build, as far as I'm aware, utilizing the new Battering Ram passive to transform charge into a fire damage skill and our main damage dealer. Unfortunately, this skill has a long-ass cooldown, but we do actually have a way of removing it, using the chain-scourged male pantaloonies. Having this, we can make the skill essentially spammable and grant it truckloads of additional damage. And the great part about playing the fire variant here is that, just like with the other builds, we have a lot of damage over time, multipliers we can utilize. You just slap all of them on at once, get like 20 times more damage, pair it with Ramaladni's and Fury stacking for a gazillion more damage, and suddenly you're blowing up everything in the entire game. As you may realize though, all of these different scalars, the fact that we're using extra weapons, and actually some mythics make the build fairly difficult to get online. It's also a bit clunky, honestly. So for that, if you're a dad gamer, then I wouldn't really recommend it. And instead, you should just go play Spin to Win, as that build is also one of the best builds in the entire game right now, but also the fastest and most brain-dead one. Okay, and finally, for the last and best build of the entire game, drumroll please, we have the Rogue with... Wait, what the shit? A completely bugged build relying on exploits? Yep, that's right. A bugged build dealing infinite damage throughout the whole expansion is back, and it has topped the leaderboard this whole season as well. It's fucking embarrassing, really. I actually started Rogue this season. I then checked the leaderboard and saw this piece of shit, salvaged all my Rain of Arrows gear, and logged out. The bug is supposedly getting fixed now, or perhaps not, we're not sure yet, but honestly, the damage has already been done. The season is practically over for most people, and the top 1,000 tower runs were all bugged builds. Good stuff. Now, for an actual build though, the best rogue build this season for pushing is indeed Rain of Arrows. So if you're not interested in playing a bugged build, or if we assume that the bugs are actually fixed, then go for this build. It's a setup using the fantastic scaling of Rain of Arrows along with marksman skills to deal buttloads of trillions of damage. I've played this build a bunch in the past, and as long as your PC can handle it, it's a super fun build that deletes everything. It takes a bit of gear to get started, as you need a lot of cooldown reduction to lower the cooldown of Rain of Arrows, along with max energy to utilize the Beastfall boots, and preparation for the final cooldown reset of the skill. But once you've got everything online, you can hit for hundreds of trillions. And if you don't want to invest time into gearing, then Rogue has a lot of other strong builds that are also clearing upwards of Pit and Tower 140. Probably the most diverse class of the season. Alright folks, that's all for this one. Build guides are in the description, along with the subscribe button that requires some good smashing. And after doing that, I'll see you in the next one.